Can you tell whether your horse is left-handed or right-handed? And if so, what are the differences that you feel? And how do you make the difference? And how do you take that into consideration in your training or in the final product? Let's talk about this. So, I'm no veterinarian or anything like that, so everything that I'm going to talk about today is going to be just literally 100% based on experience and feel. But for me, a horse being left-handed or right-handed plays a very, very big part in my training. And the reason is, well, so what are the differences and what are the things that I feel different, versus a horse that is left-handed or right-handed? Well, is it the horse will be like for us, for example, more clumsy one direction, stronger one way, weaker the other way? I don't think that that's the same for my horses. I don't feel that for my horses they are more clumsy one direction or that they are stronger or weaker the other direction. What I feel is more like based on conformation. I feel that I've got horses that are more stiffer one way and softer one way. Basically, like they always favor one direction. Now, how can you tell ahead of time before you start riding which direction that might be? I've got a pretty good tip on how to figure that out. So when I think about it, is where does all that originate from? Where, how does it come that a horse is left-handed or right-handed? And I think that it comes from how they grow in the womb, grow in the belly of the mom, and it has a lot to do with their position. Okay, so I feel like if you look at the foal in the womb, its head is sort of bent that way, and its entire body is bent that way until it straightens out and comes out. So I'm thinking that growing that way will have a little bit longer and more elastic muscles on one side of the horse and a little bit more contracted, shorter muscles on the other side. And I think that that is the why that the horses will always favor one side over the other. And how that comes into play in training, I think, is that, well, in some things and in some situations, you want to have a horse that's, that's more supple one direction, but in the end game, you want to have a really straight horse. So if you have a horse that is born sort of like that, how do you get it to where it functions and works like this? So let's break that down a little bit more. If you look at Anna here, I think that you couldn't tell whether she's left-handed or right-handed just looking at her walking around. I don't think it's possible. But there is one indicator that gives me a pretty good hint. And again, this is just based on my experience. It does have a 99.9% like accuracy rate as far as I'm concerned. You make your own judgment once you know what I'm talking about, and I may be wrong, but for me, the way I can tell is her mane is on the right side. So I'm pretty sure that this mare, when she grew up in the womb, I'm pretty sure that she was bent over to the right that way. And she is definitely right-handed. She works like this, she favors her right side, and a lot stiffer to the left, a lot softer to the right, not always in a good way. This is a little bit more of a technical aspect of it, the training part of it, and that's something we're going to talk a little bit further down into the video about, but anyways, the way that I can tell is because she has her mane on the right. And again, 99.9% of the time, the side that the mane lays on is the side that the horses favor. And the question is here, do I call this horse left-handed or right-handed? Because they favor one way, and it doesn't mean that they're better that way. Since they favor that way, maybe at the beginning when you start them circling that way, everything will feel easier going that way than to the right. Since to the right she's going to be quite a bit stiffer. But does that make her left-handed? In my opinion, yes. That's how I'm going to see this. I'm going to see that the side that the horse favors is going to be the side, I'm going to call them left-handed or right-handed, depending on which side they favor. And in 99.999% of the times, that's the side that their manes lay on. So anyways, I've got 3 horses stacked up here. We're about to film something about the spins and Yeah, those look good. Look very nice and clean. Eventually, if you can make them a little bit smaller, the smaller the better, and the tighter at the top the better. But definitely a lot better than I would do. Thank you. Hey Rick, can you bring me the beamer parts for Anna, please? So as far as training the horse, we want a straight horse, okay, in the end game. So I feel that the side that they favor, the side that they have that slight incurvation, when you first start a colt and teach them to get into the turnaround, or you know, teach them how to lope, I always feel that the side they favor, they're always a little bit easier going that direction than the other. The other side, they'll be dropping their shoulder a little bit more, and all of that good stuff. And I'm sure that everybody will agree that horses, you know, you will always have a side that feels easier to you. But that is not the case in the long run, in my opinion. This is what it's like in the short run. It is because of that. But in the end, you want a straight horse. So the bigger problems I have in my training program and in the training process comes from trying to straighten out that slight natural incurvation that the horse have on the side that they favor. And I find that the side that they're stiffer, which may have given me a little bit harder time getting them to soften up that side and get them to follow their nose and channel their energy through that direction, like especially as they get tired. You'll see that the more a horse gets tired, the more they're gonna wanna go back to the side that they favor. So through the training process, it is a little bit harder that direction. But in the end, this is always the lead that they will make a better lead change, a better run down to the stop, or actually spin better because they're gonna be naturally more straight. So this is how this really impacts me in my training program. Let's put that on for about 20 minutes. Let's put the legs on the front, the legs part on the front legs. After about 15 minutes or so, you can take it off, and then you can please start saddling her up. Yes. She'll be the third one I'll use in the video. So I'm gonna start with Tigger, I'm gonna go with Ruffin, and then I'll finish with her. So over here, we've got Tigger and we've got Ruffin. And Ruffin is a 3-year-old gelding now. Tigger is a 2-year-old stud, and Anna is a 4-year-old mare. And they are all at various stages in their training, and I've received a lot of questions lately about the turnaround, whether it's how to get one to step more on its inside pivot foot, how to get one to cross over better, and all of these things. And rather than trying to answer each individually, because there's just so much around it that I prefer to just make a full-length video where I will break down my turnaround program starting from a 2-year-old to a 3-year-old to a finished 4-year-old. And then I think that this way we will approach pretty much every aspect of my training turnaround training program. So the full-length video is going to be uploaded on the Comfort Zone Horse Training video series. So if you want to see that, I suggest that you subscribe to that and go and check that out. And until then, I hope that you found this video valuable. If you find any value in it, please give it a like. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so, as we have a lot of very entertaining videos coming up, and you don't want to be missing out on that. And anyways, it's been fun. I hope that you've learned something today. See you in the next one. Cheers.